We are at the Sofitel Hotel in New York. You now see walking out a well-dressed man with a telephone that he hands to the doorman. The well-dressed man is Brian Yearwood, the chief engineer at the hotel. The doorman picks up the phone, looking at taxis as they pass, and he's basically waiting for DSK's taxi, which will come in about less than a minute. Now, the problem for me, after looking at this for a year, is how did the person on the other end of the phone who called the chief engineer, and then the chief engineer came out to doorman, how did they possibly know that DSK was coming? Because DSK is convinced and states very clearly that he never called and said he was coming. He could have arrived any time after 3 that afternoon. It's now 7:08. So how do these men know, or the man on the other end of the telephone, whoever that is, we don't know. And so here we see the doorman is signaling back and forth to the chief engineer, the well-dressed man, Brian Yearwood, who comes out to have another conference on the street. He's going to go back, and they're now watching for this taxi. And there you see the doorman. He's going down the street, and just out of camera range. These closed circuit TV cameras. He's gone out of range, and we will see him come back. The well-dressed man now has pulled back into the hotel somewhere because he knows what's happening. And now the taxi comes forward, and we see the doorman actually running next to the taxi, running over to the trunk, picking out, the trunk opens, and taking out what is DSK's, we will see suitcase, which is on wheels, and his briefcase. He'll put him on the sidewalk, and we have to wait a moment. DSK, who's just come from Washington, D.C., it's May 13th. He's had an important meeting of the IMF at Washington that afternoon, and then he's caught an airplane at 5 o'clock, which got in at 6:20, and he doesn't know what room he's getting, but the reservation was made the day before, saying he'd arrive sometime in the afternoon by the IMF, which he's the chairman of. Now we see basically DSK picks up his suitcase from the doorman. He checks a few things, and now we see DSK towing his suitcase in a second. He's about to tow it, he's getting it ready, and he's going to now walk into the hotel. And we now see him coming into the hotel. And now as he enters the hotel, he will be met by a assistant clerk who will meet him, and she walks with him through the lobby, which will go through the main lobby and to the other side of the hotel, the 45th Street side of the hotel, which is where the check-in desk is. Now we're watching, and we will see the same well-dressed man, Brian Yearwood, the engineer, come out. There he comes. He speaks to the concierge. Now he follows in the same path. He walks through the main lobby, we'll pick through the camera, and he stops just at the entranceway to the this area here, which is the where you check into the hotel. We now see DSK is checking in. It takes him a few minutes because he's treated no differently than any other guest, except he learns that rather than getting a normal suite, which is a normal room, which is $525 a night, he's going to get the president's suite, which is $3,000 a night. It's a gift to him from the hotel because he's such an important man. And he doesn't say anything. He gives them his passport now, and he fills out the form. You see him writing on the desk. Now, if you look in the doorway, you will see Brian Yearwood peeking in and out, or at least looking in and out, I should say. And then we see DSK now gets ready to go to the elevator. Watch very carefully the doorway. The elevator is the bank he's turning into. He walks to the left and then goes into the elevator bank. Now we see Brian Yearwood come right out, look into the elevator bank, look at where DSK was, and disappear. So we basically have an employee of the hotel anticipating DSK's arrival and following DSK as he actually comes into the hotel.